brilliant. It's a hero maximum. On the ground, down the ground, another hero maximum.
Welcome back to the Maximum Cricket Podcast. This is episode number 70. This week's episode will be like nothing you have ever listened to. I will promise you that. New Zealand at half strength are up 1-0 against Bangladesh, who are also at half strength. Doesn't mean anything. I mean, it probably means as much as the world rankings do, I would say. After demolishing Australia 2 games in a row, India are now ranked the number 1 team in all 3 formats. Does it mean anything? Of course it does, but it's not everything. And lastly, it's the reason you listen or watch to TMC. We are going to name the 11 best-looking players in cricket history. None of us are on that list. I'll give you the tip. But first, Lugsy, last I checked, we were sponsorless this week. Is that right? We lost our sponsors?
Yeah, that's right, mate. Well, by choice in some ways. I mean, as you know, we've been pretty blessed the last few weeks. We've got some pretty big sponsors on board, so we all thought it was time to give back. And so the TMC goes from being sponsors to being the sponsors. So we're pretty proud to announce we're the major sponsor of the pitch hitters cricket side for 2023. So they're a side in the one-man stand team up in Auckland. So great for us to give back to the cricketing community. Just had a word from Ricky Black. He is one of the main members here. They are a couple of players short. So if anyone would like to jump right into Ricky's DMs, it's Ricky Black 05 on Instagram. You just flick him a wee message if you're interested in playing for the side, and he'll hook you up with all the details. But pretty massive for us to just be a major sponsor of a cricket side in Auckland now, and we're working on being on the jersey and whatnot, but we'll take it from there. So pretty big news.
Just great to give back, isn't it?
It is nice. Yeah, it does feel good.
Yeah, the game grows from the ground up. So lovely for the pinch hitters to be on board. I heard any new signee gets a free Patreon subscription. So there's some real sort of grease in the wheels if you do DM Ricky Black. But yeah, make sure to say TMC sent you.
Yeah.
It's important as a podcast that when you do grow, you don't forget about the little guys. Obviously, as you see, we've had some big sponsors and people looking after us. It's nice to just turn it around and just sort of, pay it forward if it will. So, look out for those pinch hitters. And Ricky Black, Instagram, always on it. Bit of Girk, bit of cricket. New Zealand, Bangladesh in the middle of a one-day series in Bangladesh. Both sides missing a few regular starters. So as I said in the intro, unsure what we can take away from it. But results so far have been the first ODI, Bangladesh won the toss, chose to field. Match was reduced to 42 overs a side due to rain. New Zealand struggled a bit, limping through to 136 for 5 off 33 overs before rain had the final say. Will Young made a hard-working 58, while Henry Nicholls impressed with 44. The Fizz was the pick of the Bangladesh bowlers, 3 for 27 off his 7. In the second ODI, New Zealand won the toss, elected to bat. Couldn't have got off to a worse start, losing their top 3 for just 36 runs. Henry Nicholls, Tom Blundell put on about 100 to give New Zealand some momentum, but when those two and Ravindra were dismissed, New Zealand again on the back foot, 166 for 6. The tail wagged with Cole McConchie, who he made 20 himself. Ish Sodhi at 8 made 35, Jameson 20, and Ferguson a handy 13 to drag New Zealand to a competitive 254. Could have been a few less when Sodhi was run out while backing up, but Bangladesh decided to withdraw the appeal. More about that later, I'm sure. In reply, Bangladesh got off to a flyer, actually, 60 for 1 off 10, until it became the Ish Sodhi show once again. He took the 7th best ODI figures for a Kiwi, 6 for 39 off his 10, as Bangladesh lost wickets regularly. They were bowled out for 168, and the Caps won their first game in Bangladesh from their last 8 games by 86 runs. Boys, as I said, hard to take a lot from the series, but if there's one thing that stood out for you the most from these first 2 games, what was that?
I think it's probably just Ish Sodhi's bowling. I think just sort of stepping up in some subcontinent conditions. I've got him in next week's sort of Super Sports Bet preview as a wee dark horse in a certain category. So I think he's just shown it. Hopefully the entree to what does the World Cup mean for us?
Yeah, I was actually going to say the importance of Ish Sodhi is what's standing out here, and what's going to be so important going forward. Outside of him, I think a bit of a concern is still our batting a little bit. We still, as I say, we don't look like a side that can blast 350, but I mean, I think we've said it once, we've said it 1,000 times, that sort of getting to 260, 280, backing our bowling is going to be our go. So what we can take is that we've got enough guys that can get handy 30s, handy 40s, and bat around a guy getting 80, and that'll do us a job. So, yeah, good victory. And Ish Sodhi's importance is becoming more evident.
Yeah, massive Ish Sodhi. I think he's almost become a forgotten man. I think he's going to be extremely, extremely important at this World Cup. Don't think as good as Santner is, he's not like an extreme wicket taker. Like he's not going to rip a side apart, and that reflects his stats in one-day cricket aren't incredible like they are in T20 cricket. Different sort of, you still got to take wickets rather than defend. I think that's where Sodhi is so valuable in those middle overs, and he's going to be key for us to go far. But just the one thing that stood out for me from Bangladesh is the Fizz is a genuinely world-class bowler.
Good watch.
Like he is ripping through our top order, and I know it's not full strength, but some of these deliveries are genuine world class. Like he's got everything.
Yeah. The Fizz is world class. He truly is. I think if you've watched that sort of Mumbai Indians cricket fever doco, you saw a little glimpse of him. But there's a reason he's sort of picked up in all of these leagues and thought very sort of highly of around the world. So yeah, it's good to see top level fast bowling and everyone sort of having one leading into the World Cup as well. It's good to see.
What I also like about him just quietly is that he actually looks quick. Like he's not one of these big muscle bowlers that's small run up and just gets it down there and it's suddenly 140 on the gun. He actually looks rapid. He charges in and it all looks whippy and quick. So I like seeing that.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. The one last point I wouldn't mind touching on, lads, is the non-man cat. Now I sort of touched on it in the summary, but I guess Sodhi was run out backing up, given out, and then decided that they didn't want to take that wicket that way. Where are you at on that? Because it was quite a nice moment, the wee hug it out sort of thing. But if you're a pro man cat person right now, you're probably fuming.
Good to see we're getting ourselves into some international dressing rooms. Obviously, the Bangers Skip, big fan of the show, big fan of our take of the man cats. So just good to see us creeping in, and would love to have him on when he sort of listens to this pre-game 3. So but I mean it's common sense prevailing, thankfully. So I'm all for it. I'm all for the callback and the warning.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because the stakes aren't particularly high at this point. It'd be very interesting to see, if that's match-winning situation at a World Cup, what sort of happens. I mean, as you say, Munter, it was a nice moment. I haven't read too much of the fallout if people are pro or anti it. So I don't know if you've caught much of that, but yeah, a nice moment. It'll just be very interesting to see how it's going to be, how that will go ahead in World Cup and knockout times.
It was one of the best warnings you could ever have because he's fully gone through with it. Like he's run him out. Like quite often with a warning, it's just like you're faking to run him out and you're like, no, get back in your crease. But this is like when you're punishing someone, but you really go through with it, but then you pull it away at the last second. So you want to know that they're really sorry for what they did. So like he's actually run him out, appealed. It's gone upstairs. They've given it out. Ish Sodhi's like almost to the boundary, and then they call him back. Like it's just a real, mate, we'll do it. Like seriously, we will do it.
It sounds like Carrington with Harvey or something.
Yeah, there's a bit of deadness in there.
Is that like you take him all the way to Mackie and not
bring
him anything on the drive through?
It's actually parent abuse.
Give him a wee fruit bag. Oh, damn.
Actually, to be fair, it was Harvey's second birthday over the weekend, and we went to get him a Happy Meal for for his lunch, and he's actually fallen asleep in the car. So he's actually had his nap. So, obviously we couldn't let that food go to waste. So, but father of the year straight in there.
Well, we don't remember it. So,
what's he done?
He certainly won't. Speaking of things that people don't remember, a one-day series in India between Australia and India. Again, not sure what we can take from it, but it's been two massive hidings. The first one-dayer, India, they chose to field as Australia made a competitive but very gettable 276 off their 50. 6 of Australia's top 7 made 20 plus. Only David Warner passed 50. TMC's favourite son, Mohammad Shami, took 551 as India were just able to take wickets regularly enough to restrict Australia. In reply, India's new opening pair, Shubman Gill and Gaikwad, put a huge dent in the chase, making 142 on just 21 overs. After that, India cruised to a comfortable 5-wicket win. KL Rahul and Suryakumar Yadav also made 50s as India go 1-0 up. For Australia, Zampa took 2 and Cummins was the only bowler to go at 4s off his 10. In the second one day, the floodgates open. Australia actually won the toss and chose to chase leather as India racked up a mammoth 399 for 5 off their 50. Shubman Gill and Shreyas Iyer both made hundreds as they put on 200 in just 27 overs for the second wicket. The innings was finished off to perfection again by Sky as he went full T20 mode, making 72 not out of just 37 balls. Cam Green got hurt the most, conceding 103 off his 10 overs. The best bowlers were probably Zampa and Hazelwood, who only went at 6s. In reply, Australia lost their first 2 wickets with only 16 on the board. Steve Smith falling first ball. From there, it was all India. Australia bowled out for 217. Dave Warner made another 50 to continue his good form, plus Sean Abbott made a late cameo, smacking 54 off 36 at number 8. Ashwin and Jadeja, the old faithful combo, took 6 wickets between them. Boys, India now the number 1 ranked team in one-day cricket, T20 international cricket, and Test cricket. Lugsy, I believe you wanted to make a hot take. Is there any stopping India?
I don't think this is going to be a hot take because no, there's not. I just really want to double down on last week's pick of India to win this World Cup and win it comfortably. There's just too much in that side.
Did we chuck 100 on them?
We told Frog to chuck 100 on them, and I'll say that's certainly been done. That's definitely been done.
Jeez. Hopefully you get him out of the hole that I got him in today, but that's probably a chat for another day.
He has messaged me yesterday saying he was in a hole, so you've made it worse. But I'm going to get him out of it. Yeah, India have got everything at the moment. They've got good spinners. They've got a underrated and handy enough pace attack. They've got an incredible batting lineup. They will not lose this World Cup. And Shubman Gill will be top run scorer. More on that next week.
Yeah, I would second that. Shubman Gill, he must be pretty close to the favourite for most runs because 400s and apparently it's the most hundreds in India by a single batsman in 1 year is Shubman Gill with 4 this year, and we haven't even had the World Cup hasn't started.
I'm sure Cole
got
21 1 year or so.
Yeah, well, that's what I would have thought. So I think obviously the previous best was 3. So, what's something? So Shubman Gill, Jacko, what's one of your big takeaways from the series so far? Apart from India,
obviously India good, devil on the shoulder. Are they peaking too early? It's always a question when a team's sort of going into a World Cup playing like this.
I like the zag.
Are they peaking too early and England's going to just sweep them up in the finals? But no, I think that's one of the more overrated statements. Like, if you're playing well, just keep playing good cricket, and they're playing exceptional. I think Crom touched on it as well. I think their quicks are sneaky good, and I think that's what rounds them out and why they probably are 1 in all 3 categories, because we know about the spin, we know about the batting, but they're not really missing anything. So they're very good. Aussie probably just taking this as a feeling out the conditions sort of series. Maybe that's how they sort of spin it for themselves to, sleep well tonight. But bit to do for Aussie. India looking very, very ominous.
Yeah, I got nothing else to add. It's one of those things where when you win these series, they mean everything, and when you're Australia and you lose them, it doesn't mean anything. That's where we'll probably leave it. Actually, just give me a one-word answer to this question before we move on. Who is the best all-format team in the world?
India.
England.
Ooh.
I'll go England. I'll go England as well. I'll go England as well. And I reckon at some point we'll do a debate. We'll do a discussion about that in the future.
TikTok saying India,
but right now, lads,
over there.
it's actually banned in India, so good luck with that. Righto, lads, it's the moment we've been waiting for. We've sort of done a bit of cricket stuff because that's what we're here for. But this is what we've wanted to do for a while. We have always been a fan of good-looking people. Don't know many people that aren't. So we thought, why not? The obvious thing to do is to select the best-looking team, best-looking 11 of all time. Lugsy, I want to throw to you because how did this actually come about again? And do we want to explain to listeners how we as a panel judge good looks? Because it's all subjective at the end of the day.
Well, yeah. I mean, how did this come about? I'm not actually 100% sure.
It just happened. We saw some road rival podcast put a terrible list together and thought, well, we're A, a better podcast, B, better content, and C, put a better list together. So thought we better have a crack at it.
We're a better judge of good looks. That's
not good looking down south. Jacko would probably get a game if he made Test debut, but unfortunately he hasn't at this stage. It's hard. It's very hard because looks is very subjective. You've got your sort of classic good looks, which we'll touch on. Then you've probably got your sort of not often seen with guys, but you do. Like I was thinking about old Uzi Khawaja, and I thought quite cute. Probably not going to be on the list, but he's just sort of cute, sort of a character. And then you've sort of got
Uzi Khawaja.
Just cute. He's got a nice smile. And then you've got sort of your skunks. So most skunks guys are good looking, but not all good looking guys are skunks, I would say. It's more of an attitude. It's sort of someone that's going to chew their gum. They're going to play quite aggressively. They're going to wear quite cool style. Yeah, like I wouldn't say Conor McGregor's a necessarily good-looking guy. Not bad-looking, obviously, but he's just carries himself very confidently. Very sort of that sort of look,
That's the flaw. That's the flaw. That's the flaw of like a really good looks, I would say. I would say. Well, how we talked about this off air that we sort of want to start with our heavy hitters, our locks, guys that are 10 out of 10 or very close to it, guys that, in our opinions, they have to be on the side.
And are we actually putting a competitive 11 together?
Yourself, yeah.
Did we settle on that?
Well, I think that's probably the one thing is this team doesn't have to be a great team, but it has to make sense.
We sort of need
you can't just put 11 bowlers.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah, give or take. Yeah, pretty much. Roughly. It has to you have to be able to put this team on a park and it actually looks like a cricket side.
Oh, my team's handy. Team's handy.
Oh shit, yeah. So let's start with our locks. Jacko, who's your one of one? When this challenge was laid down, who was the first person you thought of?
Yeah, I mean, probably it's pretty hard to go past Paddy Cummins for me at the moment, I think. There's the height, there's the blue eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just plenty about Paddy Cummins currently. So it helps that he's probably one of the best bowlers in the world. Gets that wee blazer out, which, geez, that looks crisp for the coin toss. So, yeah, I thought we had to have Paddy Cummins as one of our bowlers.
It has to be. I second that. He's in your classic. Like, he looks good in any era, any age. Like a lot of, I would say, it doesn't matter how old you are. You can obviously appreciate that as attractiveness.
Would have been very,
and it probably helps.
With, the white dress shirt with 2 bottom buttons done up, that sort of era would have really cleaned up, I thought.
Yeah.
And according to every guru, you've got to be 8'9" these days. So he is cool. So that's good. So that's
does help.
Probably like I'm married. Probably like I'm married then. Lugsy, you're if it wasn't Cummins, you're one of one. Give us a lock.
I mean, let me just. I've got 2 openers I'd love to give you as a pair, but I won't. I'll stay away from it. And let me just go in the middle order. Let me get us an all-rounder. Let me just go the big puppy. I mean, Stoynes has got to go up there. He's just got to go. I mean, he's oozing class, the big fella. We need a bit of size in the side. You know, a bit of muscle isn't going to hurt. And he's actually just a very good-looking dude as well. So let me give you Stoyne up first.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
I can't
argue
with that. You're not going to get any argument.
He's probably 1A and Cummins 1B sort of currently.
Different kind of looks. Like he's kind of like your almost like 10 years ago, like, you know, you had to be quite like buff, like sort of big to be classed as good looking. Like that's probably like the Stoyne and the tan. Probably helps he's funny as well. I think that
wouldn't look out of place in a Hollander's polo in the vault line, actually, to be fair.
Yeah.
Sort of that super rugby player
it's a good
play at 10 or 12 sort of vibe.
Copping some abuse from the likes of Harry Jones, these sort of things. Yeah. He wouldn't. I actually got a photo with Stoynes. Okay, no, I didn't. I was going to say I got a photo of Stoynes after
Mitch Marsh.
Stoynes wouldn't be in it. So maybe take him out of the
Yeah. Yeah, I had a photo of Mitch Marsh and I told him that he should have been playing that day, and turns out he got a golden duck, so he thought I was really funny. So, which I was just absolutely
great gags.
Steamed on the Stags do.
Mitch Marsh,
that's a tough one. It's a tough. Didn't recover. Okay, let me give you my lock. I'm going back to your classic good looks. And I'm going to go an opener. I'm going to go Alistair Cook. Just like the jawline. He is the epitome of like English cricket in terms of looks. Like he looks like he could be a royal family sort of
say that private school boy,
like a prince.
Family money.
Yeah, not everyone's cup of tea. Like not like some like, you know, we're like, not everyone's cup of tea. Like a little bit sort of uptight sort of thing. But you can't argue.
He's probably not going to, he's probably not going to take you home one night, rough, and give you the time of your life. But he is going to treat you well. Yeah.
He's quite like Alistair Cook, not a one night stand, but he's take home
absolutely.
Sort of Jacko, will swing around to yourself.
I think this guy was really sort of approaching the lock in this 11 pre this incident, but the towel incident when Uzi and Warner and the Saffers were going at each other, and the cock and Faf strolled out in that towel looking all sorts of cut up. We've got the sleeve. Yeah, I reckon Faf would be probably 1-1 when it comes to Africans on my list. So you've got to lock Faf into this 11. I can't see him missing it pre that incident, and then definitely not after it.
Yeah, we need someone for Stoynes to gym with as well. They're gonna get on like a house on fire. I reckon. Initially, I feel like there might be some conflict. But then I see them really growing together, just lifting some tin and having some fun.
Yeah. Well, have you guys heard that yarn about those two in the IPL?
No.
When Faf was on the grey cricket, apparently him and Stoyne they've bonded because they're both really good.
You love
where they every time they see each other, they reenact the like the Zoolander like quotes, like it's Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson, like just like our people don't understand what it's like to be so good.
They get it, don't
they? I can't argue with it.
It makes me sick.
I can't argue with either of them.
See how the other half.
I can't argue with. any of it, and it's fun.
Yeah.
Lugsy, you got any more?
I've got
locks?
a couple more. Yeah. I've probably got two more that I think are locks, but and one's an opener and one's a someone. I'll go both Kiwis as well. Let me give you an opening partner for Pat Cummins, and let me give you Tim Southey. I mean, still got it, I reckon, now, but initially bursting on the scene, I think, a few rumours in New Zealand here of him being a bit of a handful, and that just adds to the aura. So, I think you've got to lock a young Tim Southey in.
Yeah.
I didn't have him as a lock, but he was pretty damn close. I didn't, there's a few bowlers on my list, but he's probably he'd be pretty close to the best looking guy that's ever played for New Zealand.
Yeah, he'd be right up there.
Like pretty close. I mean, there's going to be someone else that there's going to be someone else that sort of has a case, but Southey's case is right up there. He's tall. He's a classic tall, dark, and handsome, isn't he?
Oh, a bit of attitude.
Yeah.
Makes full use of the code sort of membership, doesn't he?
Oh, I'd love to hear some stories. I'll give you the tip. Right, I should move on. Okay. Bit lighter the keeper in our side. So tell you what, there weren't as many on the board as we thought. I don't know if it's hard to be good looking if you're a keeper. I don't know.
You normally
Ben Folkes stands out.
You are normally short and annoying, so that's sort of you're a bit of a gremlin. So you're not traditionally good
actually
looking.
the only other person that I thought. The only other person, and he's nowhere near Ben Folkes, which we'll get to, but like a Mohammed Rizwan, he's got a really nice, freshly cut beard. And I think that means that's got to count for something. And he's got sort of like luscious locks. He's got sort of like that model eye look. And I think there's something there. But Ben Folkes is, I mean, he's close to one of the best looking players to ever play the game. Like he's just got it all. There's not much else to say. Just a perfect sort of specimen.
Yeah. I don't really think there's any keepers that sort of come close. Sort of that footy player like McCullum, Watling, even Butler, sort of a little bit beat up look. But yeah, I think Folkesy sort of is a clear one.
Yeah, because it is. That's a perfect way of saying it. It is interesting looking at a few lists, and like some people do have Joss Butler very high, which is fair, but not for us. England do have more of your traditional good-looking types, don't they?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I'm happy with Ben Folkes is
100%.
he's 100% got the gloves.
Yeah. Righto, let's move on. Jacko, have you got any more locks, or have you got some others to throw out?
Yeah, I don't know if I had any more like have to haves. Sort of a couple that stick out. I mean, sort of a young Stewie Broad, sort of tall, blonde, blue eyes.
Even an old Stuart Broad, like even Stuart Broad now.
Stuart Broad was pretty close to me. I think in terms of bowlers, he'd really be up there. There's plenty to like in some of these Indian sort of well-groomed, good fade, very sharp beard operations. Your Jadesias, your Kohlis. So all up for discussion, but no more locks for me. Potentially in the broad mould, even like Kyle Jamieson, I think, is just so tall, so blonde, so tanned. So, yeah, I mean, all sort of three very key statistics that we'd like to hear here. So, some options there, but no more locks from me.
Lugsy, you got anyone? I know you've got someone you're sort of championing.
No. I really want to throw out like an Andy Mackay just to throw guys off. No shots at Andrew.
He stays up there, actually.
Yes. Scott Strikes.
I'll tell you what. I was saying to Hayden, I was like, who are some good looking cricketers? And we went for the New Zealand team. We had a mongrel of a side for a while. It wasn't pretty for a minute there. But to me, the guy that has to open with Cook if we're short of an opener and maybe another skip is I always found Stephen Fleming very classy. I think if him and Cook walk out at the top, that's traditional good looks and that's safety. Yeah.
Yeah, that is like you got left-handers, which doesn't really count towards this, but still looks nice.
It's class.
But you got the tall, the dark, the handsome. They've got a nice set of hair, which I'm envious of, obviously.
Tell you what, folks, Cook Fleming,
and they speak well. They've got nice jaw.
Folks, Cook Fleming is your cordon too. Very dangerous to look back at.
Yeah, that's intimidating.
Who fields at one? Who fields at one?
Cook.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah. Probably like Flem's probably more athletic a little bit. Like Cook's can't,
especially in those grey knuckle spikes. That's probably the only detriment to Cook's looks. Probably the only thing stopping him being a first choice for me was those grey knuckle spikes he used to run. But
I'll tell you a couple of just going a bit sort of if you go into more your wild sort of looks, and I think are worth chucking in, especially for a bit of a body, is sort of your Gales or your Dre Russes. Sort of big units. And I mean, I think Gale would, you almost have to have him this sort of side just for life of the party sort of stuff, lead the boys.
Yeah, there's some real stories around sort of his accommodation, his premises, and the optional extras he's added as well. So you get him in his sort of facilities with this 11, carnage ensues.
Yeah, a few cancellations, I'd say, coming out of 100%. Those parties.
Should we go? I mean, I want to put up.
He's got to be.
I think he's
got to be.
Well, he's pretty close. He's pretty close to a lock. I wonder if he wasn't as good at cricket, if he would be as high. I don't know if it's hard to separate the two.
For
sometimes.
Sure it factors in. I mean, if you really want the influence he's had, I mean, if that factors into this at all, I mean, Munter pointed out yesterday, India might have arguments to be the best looking cricket team at this World Cup. And you just wouldn't have said that 15 years ago, I'm sorry. They have came a long way.
Nah. Well, they they're well groomed. They're all like super athletic. Most of them are ripped up. They're tatted up.
Couple of earrings for a lot of them.
They're active on social media. We've got Shubman Gill posting thirst traps after making tons. It's a new era. It's India. This Indian team. What do we say? They got Kohli. They've got Shubman Gill. They got Siraj, Jadeja.
He's good.
Big stuff.
Hardik Pandya's handy.
Yep.
Who are we going at, Jacko? You want to throw a name out there?
Well, where are we sort of at 11-wise? Do you have it there for us?
We've got 20.
So our current 11. We've got 8 in our 11. We've got Alistair Cook, Fleming, Faf, Kohli, Stoinis, Folkes, Cummins, and Southey. So we probably need a spinner and another bowler probably, and maybe
give me Jadeja to bat 8 and bowl spin. I think that's probably our option.
That's handy.
Yeah, that is handy. There aren't that many good looking spinners.
I mean,
just quietly, like I don't know if it's another, but like it was like Warney's probably
I think the King went all right in his younger years.
I mean, it's between those two.
The King's charisma was second to none.
Exactly.
Plenty about the King, but Jadeja's looking very crisp. He's just getting crisper and crisper. So you're probably splitting hairs with those two. And then there's a bit about those old school sort of 70s, the dress shirt, 4 buttons undone. A young Paddles springs to mind as just a dangerously, obviously not. not my sort of current cup of tea, but
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day with a dangerous amount of buttons undone, the big mo, quite tan. There's an argument to be made there, I think.
Oh, I think the scary thing is a lot of these old boys would have done a lot more. They would have been out there getting it, I'd say. Because you've got to remember, they're out there boozing and stuff. Like, they're actually out in it in their era. They're not just in home training and recovering.
Well, this is where it's subjective, where we've grown up in a certain era. So certain people from our area are going to get sort of targeted. Like, it's going to be hard for us to look at the older generation, but that doesn't mean there weren't some absolute gold dust back in the day, some sensational talent back in the day, just not our cup of tea, which is absolutely fine. We've only got a couple of minutes here, lads, so let's see what else we've got. We've got a couple more.
What are we lacking?
Are we going to lock in? Are we going to lock in Stuart Broad?
Yeah, I think
in this 11.
Yeah,
as our other bowler.
Yeah, I think Broad makes the cut.
Yeah, let's get Broad in there.
See, a lot of people, obviously, the two Aussies get a lot of chatter. That's Mitchell Johnson, Brett Lee. Johnson in your bad. Yeah, I think India really fell in love with Lee, sort of the rapid bowl and the blonde hair, became a bit of a hero over there. Yeah, not for us, though, I don't think.
Yeah. Okay, so our bowling attack is Jadeja, Cummins, Southey, and Broad, and a bit of Stoinis action. He's all got two all-rounders. So we need another batsman. I'm going to put out Michael Clark.
It was on the tip of my tongue.
In the Virat Kohli mode, if he wasn't as good at batting, didn't look as good batting, we might not think this, but those sort of bleach blonde tips, plenty about. I'm very happy to have Clark in here.
But I want to stress, I'm only going prime, burst on the scene, Pup Clark. I'm not interested in the man he's became.
No.
I'm not saying he's bad looking, but he's annoying me.
Yeah. Even skinhead Pup had a bit about him.
Well, that's...
Oh, yeah. Shit, yeah. You shave your head, you look good.
Well, he just the collar up, the way he fielded, like athletic in the field. It kind of was like he kind of bucked the trend a little bit with, like, back Australian cricket was quite big and bulky, whereas, like, he was quite lean, like, quite fit and just quite athletic.
I'll tell you what, good fielding is actually highly attractive.
I think we'll leave it at that, because I think that's a good way to sign up, because we are running out of time. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please do like and subscribe. If you really like what we do and you want to help us grow, have a look at a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple. And if you want some extra content, check out Patreon for an extra podcast a week. Last week we reviewed the ODI where Australia became the first team to pass 400 but lose. This week it's the 2015 World Cup semi-final where Grant Elliott became a superhero. Thanks to Lugsy, Jacko, and we will see you all here at the same time, same place.
Yeah, in the podcast world, that's one for us.